Not every big money move in rugby union ends in glory. Some transfers promised greatness, but delivered disappointment, and the stories behind them are just as shocking as the results. From World Cup stars struggling in new environments, to injury-plagued stints that left clubs counting their losses, today, we're diving into rugby's 10 biggest transfer flops. And trust me, some of these might surprise you. The rugby world was abuzz when league superstar Sam Burgess swapped codes to join Bath in 2014. His £500,000 move was financed by the RFU as England looked to unearth their own Sonny Bill Williams. Burgess was seen as the kind of player who could redefine English rugby, particularly in the lead-up to the 2015 Rugby World Cup. But the transition from league to union proved a steep challenge. Despite his physical prowess, Burgess struggled with the nuances of union, including game understanding and tactical awareness. His placement at centre as well as at flanker only added to the confusion, highlighting the lack of a clear developmental plan for his skills. After a turbulent World Cup campaign, where England suffered an embarrassing pool stage exit, Burgess faced harsh criticism from fans and pundits alike. His move was also clouded by allegations of division within the England squad, with some teammates reportedly unhappy with his selection. Just 1 year into his union career, he returned to rugby league, leaving Bath with a failed experiment and a hefty bill. His move remains a case study in how even the most talented athletes can falter without proper preparation, role clarity, and institutional support. Dan Carter's move to Perpignan in 2008 was heralded as a groundbreaking moment for French rugby. At the height of his powers, Carter was a generational talent with a boot as precise as a surgeon's scalpel. Expectations soared as he joined the top 14 champions on a reported salary of €700,000 for just 6 months, making him the highest-paid rugby player at the time. However, after just 5 appearances, Carter tore his Achilles tendon, ending his season prematurely. The injury was devastating not only for Carter, but also for Perpignan, who had built their campaign around his presence. Despite his brief appearances showcasing moments of brilliance, including flashes of his trademark playmaking and kicking precision, Perpignan never truly benefited from his signing. The club managed to finish the season respectively, but fell short of retaining their title. Carter's brief stint in France raised questions about the value of short-term contracts and underscored the unpredictability of marquee signings in rugby. It also foreshadowed his later, more successful return to France with Racing 92, where he managed to stay fit and make a lasting impact. When Toulon signed Willie Mason, they aimed to capitalise on his towering physique and cross-code appeal. At 6'4" and over 115 kilograms, Mason's raw athleticism seemed tailor-made for rugby union's demands. Toulon had a reputation for taking bold risks on high-profile signings, and Mason fit the bill as an NRL superstar who was tipped to make a huge impact in rugby union. However, the transition from league to union exposed his lack of familiarity with the game's structure and flow. Toulon hoped he would adapt quickly, but Mason's on-field struggles became painfully evident, particularly in areas like the breakdown where technical precision was crucial. His positional awareness was lacking, and he often appeared lost in key moments, unable to integrate into Toulon's fast-paced, strategic playstyle. After just 2 matches, Toulon released him, marking one of the shortest high-profile experiments in rugby history. Fans were left questioning the logic of the move, and critics saw it as a publicity stunt that backfired. Toulon learned a costly lesson about the importance of technical aptitude over mere physicality, while Mason returned to rugby league, where his skill set was far better suited. Munster fans celebrated when RG Snyman signed in 2020, envisioning the towering lock as a game-changer in their pack. Known for his line-out dominance, offloading skills, and ability to carry the ball like a back, Snyman had everything a top-tier lock could offer. His arrival, alongside fellow Springbok Damien de Allende, was seen as a statement of Munster's intent to reclaim European and domestic glory. Tragically, his debut ended with a torn ACL and subsequent injuries, including a freak knee re-injury and burns from a fire pit accident, kept him sidelined for the better part of 3 seasons. Over his 4-year stint, Snyman played a mere 432 minutes for the club, leaving fans frustrated by the cruel hand of fate. Despite his injury woes, Snyman remained a beloved figure, admired for his resilience and positive attitude. His sporadic appearances showcased the immense talent Munster had invested in, adding to the heartbreak of his unfulfilled potential. To compound matters, Snyman shocked fans by signing for fierce rivals Leinster, a move that felt like salt in the wound. His transfer underscores the unpredictability of professional rugby, where even the most promising signings can unravel through circumstances beyond control. Chris Jack was a world-class lock who had made his mark with the Crusaders and the All Blacks, amassing over 60 caps for New Zealand and earning a reputation as one of the best second rowers of his generation. When he moved to Saracens in 2007, hopes were high that his experience and skill would elevate the club to new heights. His physical presence in the tight exchanges and his composure under pressure made him an ideal candidate to bolster Saracens' forward pack. Jack's transition to the Premiership was hindered by a combination of factors. Saracens struggled to fully utilise his talents, often playing a style that didn't align with his strengths. Jack himself admitted that adapting to the more forward-dominated and physically grinding English game was challenging compared to the expansive rugby he excelled at with the Crusaders and All Blacks. Despite moments of brilliance, he never became the transformational figure Saracens had hoped for. His time at the club is remembered as a missed opportunity, with both player and team failing to hit their stride together, underscoring how even elite talents can struggle to adapt to new environments. Mathieu Bastareaud's move to Major League Rugby was seen as a bold statement for both player and league. The French powerhouse arrived in New York to great fanfare, with hopes of showcasing his strength and experience. However, Bastareaud's time in the US was anything but smooth. Limited game time, fitness concerns, and cultural adjustments all played a role in his underwhelming performances. His early departure left Rugby United New York without the marquee player they had banked on to grow the sport's profile. Bastareaud's return to France marked the end of a short-lived experiment, raising questions about the challenges of integrating elite talent into fledgling rugby systems. Toulouse saw Chile boy Ralepelle as a key piece in bolstering their front row when they signed him in 2013. As a former Springbok captain, Ralepelle brought international experience and leadership. However, his time in France was marred by off-field issues, including a doping scandal that tarnished his reputation and derailed his career. On the field, Ralepelle struggled to find form, often playing second fiddle to more consistent performers. Toulouse's investment yielded little in return, and his departure marked an unfortunate end to what should have been a fruitful partnership. Ralepelle's story serves as a reminder of the pitfalls of off-field distractions in professional sports. Christian Cullen's move to Munster in 2003 was one of the most high-profile signings in club history. Known for his breathtaking speed and creative play, Cullen was expected to bring flair to the Munster backline. However, persistent injuries severely limited his impact. When he did play, Cullen often looked like a shadow of the electrifying fullback who had thrilled fans in Super Rugby and for the All Blacks. Munster's disappointment was palpable as Cullen struggled to regain his former glory. His time in Ireland stands as a bittersweet chapter in an otherwise stellar career, highlighting how injuries can rob even the best players of their potential. Gavin Henson's move to Saracens was meant to be a fresh start after a turbulent period in his career, including injuries and a high-profile break from rugby. Renowned for his powerful runs, pinpoint kicking, and ability to control a game from the midfield, Henson was once considered one of Wales's brightest talents. Saracens hoped to reignite his career, banking on his natural abilities to add creativity and flair to their backline. However, Henson's time at the club was marred by off-field drama and reported clashes with teammates, which quickly overshadowed his contributions on the pitch. Limited to just 4 appearances, Henson struggled to regain his sharpness and form after such a long absence from competitive rugby. Fans and coaches grew frustrated by his inconsistency, and his performances failed to justify the hype surrounding his signing. The club's decision to release him after such a brief stint reflected their disappointment and Henson's inability to settle into a cohesive team environment. His tenure at Saracens remains a cautionary tale of how off-field distractions, coupled with extended periods away from the game, can derail even the most gifted players' careers. Naholo joined London Irish as a big-money marquee signing, with the club banking on his explosive try-scoring ability and electric pace to make a major impact in the Premiership. A proven finisher with 45 tries in Super Rugby, and a World Cup winner with the All Blacks, Naholo brought pedigree and star power to a team looking to establish itself in the top tier. Unfortunately, injuries plagued his time at the club, limiting him to only a handful of appearances. When he did play, Naholo struggled to rediscover the form that had made him a sensation in Super Rugby. His once blistering pace seemed diminished, and the physical demands of Premiership rugby further exacerbated his fitness issues. Fans who had eagerly awaited his arrival were left disappointed as his performances fell short of the high expectations placed on him. Meanwhile, London Irish faced scrutiny for their decision to invest heavily in a player with a history of injury setbacks. Naholo's transfer serves as a stark reminder of the risks involved in signing injury-prone players, no matter how talented they may be at their peak. For London Irish, it was a costly gamble that failed to pay off, highlighting the fine line clubs must walk when pursuing marquee signings. Transfers in rugby union are always a gamble. Some pay off in spectacular fashion, while others, like the ones we've explored today, become cautionary tales. But here's a question for you. Is it the players, the clubs, or just bad luck that leads to these flops? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we will see you next time as we get back to the rugby.